Let's get more on this now with Greg Simons, who's an Associate Professor of International Relations and Armed Conflicts at Turkish University in Latvia. He joins us now from Uppsala in Sweden. Really good to have you back with us, Professor. There's a lot to cover in terms of the UN General Assembly, but can I start with the Turkish president's latest comments? He remarked that the Security Council has essentially failed in delivering on its remit of preventing outbreaks of war and violence. We've got the war in Ukraine that's ongoing right now, plus the bloody fighting that's happening in Sudan at the moment, among other conflicts. Is it time to review the Security Council as it stands?
Well, I mean, these calls have been coming more and more lately. And yes, I mean, there is a clear need. But I think the problem is you've had an even higher level of politicization of such international institutions as the UN and the UN Security Council. And this is even more important in the context of a transforming global order, where you have different sides trying to jostle for the perception of legitimacy and for influence in this rapidly changing environment. Hence the conflicts which are occurring more frequently these days.
That's right, and obviously a lot of attention was paid to Volodymyr Zelensky, who made his first in-person address to the General Assembly since the war in Ukraine began last year. How effective do you think his messaging is at this point, essentially continuing to condemn Russia and calling on the global community to support Kiev's efforts in the conflict there?
My impression is, and especially given by the rhetoric, because the rhetoric he's using is pathos. So he's using a lot of emotion to try and get people on board with him emotionally, to try and get them on his side by manipulating these emotions. And someone does that when they're desperate. And I mean, I can understand why he is desperate. The war is going very badly. I mean, if we look at even the beginning, I mean, this was clear. I mean, Stoltenberg's just said it recently, the last days, that the war could have been avoided because, I mean, the guarantees which Russia asked for were denied. And, I mean, so you just have this litany of problems with the beginning. But if we look now, I mean, estimations are at least 400,000 dead. And I mean, the so-called summer offensive has been a debacle and a disaster, with a lot of those Western-supplied weapons getting destroyed, along with poorly trained troops going to the front. So, I mean, what we see with whispers from NATO, whispers from the US, that this might come to an end soon, because politically, Ukraine is becoming a liability. Not only in terms of the conflict, but wider politics and geopolitics for the wider Western world.
Okay, Professor Greg Simons, we'll have to leave it there, but great to get your analysis on the program as always. Thank you.